Saudi Arabia did 9/11? What? That sounds super reasonable, actually. Fuck it, I'm saying it. Here's new 60 Minutes footage that was recently unsealed in the federal courts this week that raises new questions about Saudi Arabia's connection to the deadly 9/11 terror attacks.
A voice on the video says in Arabic, "I am transmitting these scenes to you from the heart of the American capital, Washington." This video, unsealed in federal court this week and obtained by 60 Minutes, was recorded in the summer of 1999. The man behind the camera is Omar al-Bayoumi, who the FBI says was an operative of the Saudi intelligence service with close ties to two of the 9/11 hijackers.
What? No. What? No. You mean to tell me Saudi Arabia did 9/11? What? No. That sounds super reasonable, actually, especially considering the fact that a couple of years prior, Saudi Arabia openly said that we would do 9/11 to Canada if you don't shut the fuck up. You guys remember that? Why would they say such a thing? Anyway, let's continue.
Time is 6 p.m.
The video was filmed over several days. Bayoumi recorded entrances and exits of the Capitol, security posts, a model of the building, and nearby landmarks. In this portion of the video, Bayoumi points out the Washington Monument. He also notes the airport is not far away.
What I see Bayoumi doing is going out and making a detailed video record of the Capitol from all its sides, and then conducting that 360-degree panoramic view.
Richard Lambert is a retired FBI agent who led the initial 9/11 investigation in San Diego, where Bayoumi and the two hijackers lived temporarily before the attacks. He's now a consultant on the case filed by the 9/11 families.
If you've ever flown into Washington, D.C., one of the first things you see on the horizon is the Washington Monument. So if you know where your other targets are in terms of the Washington Monument, it helps guide you to your intended target.
Federal investigators believe the hijackers on Flight 93, which crashed near Shanksville, Pennsylvania, had the U.S. Capitol as their likely target. Portions of the video show Bayoumi surveilling the Capitol as part of that plan. And in the video, he references a, quote, plan.
You said that in the plan. What plan?
What do you think he's talking about?
I think he's talking to the al-Qaeda planners who tasked him to take the pre-operational surveillance video of the intended target.
Why would Saudi Arabia do it? I don't know. I mean, literally everything went their way after 9/11. It's not like we went into Saudi Arabia. We literally went and waged war on everyone that is anti-Saudi Arabia in the region. Bro, think about that. Saudi Arabia did 9/11 and we attacked everyone but Saudi Arabia and Israel. Why wouldn't they do that?
Taken within 90 days of the time when senior al-Qaeda planners reached the decision that the Capitol would be a target of the 9/11 attacks.
That's when Osama bin
We were like, oh, you mean to tell me that this Saudi guy that we armed and funded with 17 Saudi guys did 9/11 and they were getting funded by the Saudi royal family? Yeah, I think I'm going to attack Afghanistan and Iraq now. How does that make sense? That is literally what happened after 9/11.
In the days after 9/11, British police discovered the video during a raid on Bayoumi's UK apartment. They also seized Bayoumi's handwritten address book that the lawyers for the 9/11 families say was filled with phone numbers of numerous senior Saudi officials who were in the government at the time.
Wait, how? What? That's crazy.
And when Bayoumi filmed the Washington video, he was often with two Saudi diplomats who the FBI says had ties to al-Qaeda, a finding the Saudi government disputes.
Well, it is another very large brick in a massive wall of evidence that at this point indicates the Saudi government was complicit in the 9/11.
No, al-Qaeda didn't offer to hand over bin Laden a few days after 9/11, and America said, fuck no. You're thinking of the Taliban. The al-Qaeda is Osama bin Laden.
Ken Williams is a retired FBI agent who led the 9/11 investigation in Phoenix, where one of the hijackers attended flight school.
Dude, there is nothing more indicative of like the American collective consciousness being like so predisposed with hog opinions, so ready to wage war, than the thing that I just described to you. A bunch of Saudi dudes that we formerly trained that have unlimited access to America because they are being monitored by the federal law enforcement agencies. And also on top of that, have worked with the federal law enforcement agencies like the CIA. They come into the United States of America. They do this thing, right? This like October 7 in the United States of America, 9/11, right? It breaks through this impenetrable security apparatus that we've crafted. It's all conducted by the Saudis. The main guy is Saudi. They have connections to the Saudi government. Not this stuff that's like new, but we knew about this already. And then America comes out and goes, you know what we're going to do? We're going to invade Afghanistan. And then afterwards, they were like, you know what else we're going to do? We're going to invade Iraq. And Americans sat by and said, that sounds about right. And they took it one step further. They said, actually, if you think that that's fucked up, that we are attacking Afghanistan and Iraq, which have nothing to do with 9/11 at all. Like, we're going over there to kill some goat farmers. If you were to say that in public, they said, you're anti-American. You love the Mujahideen. You love the terrorists. How dare you say, hold on, why are we going to Afghanistan? Why the are we going to Iraq? What the did Iraq do? You also mentioned Iran in the axis of evil and North Korea. What is happening here? You were branded a traitor. These countries had nothing to do with 9/11, and yet America was able to manufacture consent to invade both. 20 years after the fact, nothing has changed. We are still a nation of dumb hogs. That's America, baby.
He's also a consultant on the case filed by the 9/11 families.
In terms of all the revelations that have come out.
My excuse is I was 12 at the time. No, I'm not saying you guys did it. I'm simply telling you what the attitude was at the time. Why did the Saudis do it? I don't know. I'd say it's pretty successful. They did it because they wanted to serve 3-minute ad breaks at the top of the hour. Why would Saudi Arabia do 9/11 if the Mujahideen were in Afghanistan? Do you think the Mujahideen are just like only Afghan fighters? Al-Qaeda is comprised of the Mujahideen as well. I mean, still comprised mostly of Saudi individuals. Obviously, Osama bin Laden is Saudi himself, but he got training and fought alongside the Mujahideen. They were just anti-Soviet. Everyone asking why they should do it should go listen to the blowback Iraqi war and Afghanistan war. Yeah.
Pile.
The government of Saudi Arabia says, nothing to see here. This is a tourist video.
I would vehemently disagree with that. This is not a tourist video.
The British police are believed to have turned over the video to the FBI shortly after 9/11, which raises the question, why, after more than 20 years,
Iraq war had nothing to do with 9/11. It's because Iraq war was accused of having mass destruction weapons. At least that's what Bush said at the time. Brother, I'm talking about the collective consciousness. At that point, it was like Islamophobia, okay? Oh, it's a Muslim country? Go ahead, go invade. Yeah, they did 9/11. Or do you think that the average American, even back then, was like, no, they got chemical weapons? No, that was for the dumb liberals to believe. The dumb hogs were already regularly invested in the bloodshed. They were like, oh, we're killing sand N-words. That is awesome. Okay? That was the Republican position. I know that was the Republican position because I heard it. Because I'm Muslim and my name is Hassan. Anyway, the WMD argument is for the pussy-ass liberals who need like a little bit of nudging to say, we need to bring war to those sand N-words. That's the difference. Republicans are like, I'm ready to go. I'm locked in. Let's do some fucking race crimes. Let's do some genocide. Democrats are like, actually, I would like to hear a reasonable and logical justification before I'm ready to engage in permanent bloodshed and endless genocide of the global South. That's why the WMD argument matters, because you got to get the New York Times readers involved somehow.
Did somebody really mess this up?
No, it wasn't just removing Saddam that was the goal. Removing Saddam was a primary goal, but beyond that, it was also privatizing the oil extraction industry in Iraq. That was a massive goal, a lifelong goal of Dick Cheney and many of the architects of the Iraq War, literally 10 years before the Iraq invasion. Oh, they also said Saddam was harboring Al-Qaeda. What am I talking about? They did also mention, they tied it back. Don't worry. Do people really call you sand N-word? Not as much lately, but yes, of course. Actually, post October 7, that shit came back hot. Like, people were nostalgic for it. You know what I mean? People were like, oh man, finally. You missed out on the worst of it, 2001 to 2009? No, I actually didn't. I would come to America as a child. So I know, I went to basketball camp. Remember? I talked to you guys about like how I wouldn't correct the kids when they were like, when they thought Turkey was like Iraq. They didn't have Fallujah credentials. Listen, it wasn't my proudest moment. Okay, I was like Was I like 13, 14? Give me a break. I was trying to be cool. Yeah, after 9/11, the first Islamophobic hate crime was a dude in a turban. A Sikh person. Sikh. That was the first Islamophobic hate crime. Famously. Dude's not Muslim. Dude's not Arab. So don't tell me this shit is not racialized. Okay? That should tell you all you need to know about whether or not Americans would stop the question which country in the Middle East could invade under the guise of retribution for this terrorist attack. Yeah.
This seems like a really big thing to just being made public.
If that was missed, then shame on us for missing it. If it wasn't missed, then I would have to ask the question, what was done with it?
Why risk it doing 9/11? Did they know America would never turn its bloodlust upon Saudi Arabia? I don't know. Look at what has happened in the past 20 plus years. Did that bloodlust ever turn to Saudi Arabia, or did it turn on Saudi Arabia's enemies?